Hello viewers, welcome to Ekam Academy. So today we are going to discuss about another dispute relating to masjid or temple, that is Gyanvyapi mosque. You might have come across this in the news. Okay, so why this issue has arisen again? So what is the reason why this dispute has been sensational in the present times, and what is the timeline of the dispute, and what is the relevance of this dispute in your syllabus? Okay, so all these things we are going to discuss as part of this video. Stay tuned till then. So here we are going to discuss about what is all the controversy surrounding this Gyanvyapi masjid or mosque. Okay, so why it is in news and what is the background of this Kashi Vishwanath Gyanvyapi mosque matter. Okay, so this is Gyanvyapi is a place. Okay, this is a part of mosque. Okay, name of a mosque you can say, that is part of Kashi Vishwanath in the surroundings of Kashi Vishwanath temple in Kasi or Benares of UP. Okay, you can see what is the key highlights recently. Why it is in news? Because Archaeological Survey of India has recently given its report, okay, regarding this Gyanvyapi, and what are the key takeaways, what we can understand, okay, from this report, and the Places of Worship Act, what is the relevance of this act in this particular dispute, and what are the exemptions given under the act, and also what are the challenges of this Places of Worship Act. Okay, so if you see the syllabus mapping, it forms part of GS paper 2, that is government policies and interventions, and also the role of judiciary is also involved in this dispute. Okay, then why it is in news? If you have seen this dispute, okay, so like Gyanvyapi is an area in Kasi, as I told you, but this controversy surrounding whether there is a temple or a masjid. Okay, so some section of people, they're arguing that on the remains, on like when there is a temple, the temple was demolished, and then there was then they started constructing a mosque, which is in the present day. Okay, so another section was saying no, that is not true. That is why, with respect to these two sections, okay, to find out what actually happened, so there is an ASI report. Okay, so what is the reason why ASI started finding out these things, we'll understand it while. But why it is in news? Because in the recent times, okay, so in the last week or 10 days back only, ASI, Archaeological Survey of India, has given its report stating that there is a remain of Hindu temple beneath this particular mosque. Okay, that means pre-existing temple is there, and that was partly demolished, and then they have constructed this mosque according to the ASI report. On what basis they have given that report also we'll understand. But before that, you need to understand what is the timeline, okay, why this dispute has arisen. Okay, so if you know this Gyanvyapi, as I told you, this is part of Kashi Vishwanath. Okay, this area Kashi Vishwanath temple, you know. Okay, in that premises we have this. So who constructed, according to the historical sources, who constructed this temple, which the people are making allegations that there is a temple, right? That was constructed by Todarmal. Okay, you know Raja Todarmal, he is one of the Navratnas in the court of Akbar. Okay, Raja Todarmal, and he is also very famous because he was the finance minister of Akbar's court, one of the Navratnas, as I told you, and he was also important for inventing this Japti system and also Dasala system. Okay, so these are the two types of land revenue experiments what he have done, and which has improved the land revenue system during the times of Akbar. Okay, so he is famous for these reasons. Then he constructed a temple. That is what one thing you have to keep in mind. Okay, then this temple, okay, so the same temple, there were allegations that Aurangzeb, Mughal emperor Aurangzeb, has demolished this temple, and he asked, or he issued orders to construct a masjid in that particular place. This is surrounding 16th century. Okay, so then afterwards, what happened? Afterwards, you know, during like Britishers and independence, we didn't have much controversy. But later, what happened again? You know, in 1991, you know, when this Ayodhya Ram Mandir and Babri Masjid dispute, okay, so when it went after that demolition of Babri Masjid, and when the dispute went before Supreme Court, again in 1992, okay, some people has challenged that, okay, even with respect to this Gyanvyapi also, there is a demolition of temple, and then on that particular place only they have constructed masjid. So again, they asked to inquire into this particular issue. Okay, so they approached Varanasi Civil Court, asking them to look into this issue. Okay, so whether there is a temple or not. Okay, so after, on the pretext of this Babri Masjid demolition case. Okay, so then what happened? Varanasi court, okay, when it is looking into this issue, some people, okay, so they said civil court will not have any powers to look into this particular issue. Okay, so there were certain petitions filed before in Varanasi court, what did it said? It said to conduct ASI survey. Okay, so ASI survey was being asked by the Varanasi court. Then what happened? Some other sections. Okay, so they approached to the Allahabad High Court and they asked. Okay, they said Varanasi civil court, being a civil court, doesn't have any powers to look into this issue. So Allahabad High Court has stayed, okay, stayed execution or stayed this particular ASI survey. Okay, then what happened? Allahabad High Court, when it stayed, okay, some other people or some women have asked the Supreme Court, stating that we wanted to worship Lord like Gauri Mata within that premises, so the right to worship is getting barred in case if you are not allowing. Okay, so the right to worship is there as a fundamental freedom of religion, right? You have from 25 to 28. So then they approached Supreme Court. Then Supreme Court said yes, okay, we will look into this issue, but for like before we look into this issue, Supreme Court has directed that Varanasi District Court and Varanasi district judge, okay, so they have to conduct all the preliminary inquiry. Preliminary inquiry means they have to look into this issue in the basic level, preliminary inquiry, and then after finding out the details, okay, after finding out the details, then you submit us the report. Okay, so to conduct this preliminary inquiry, again they asked Archaeological Survey of India to conduct a videographic survey. Videographic means in camera, okay, whatever they do, the survey should be recorded so that it will be shown and the copy will be given to both the parties so that there won't be any controversy. Okay, in this way ASI has been asked to conduct this survey. So this survey report is out in the recent times. That is why this is what we have to look into this issue. Okay, then as I told you, what is the background? How did it all begin? The legal tussle, okay, that is resulting, like that is related to 1991 petition which was filed in Varanasi District Court seeking that restoration of this land to the Kashi Vishwanath temple. Some sections, okay, so Hindu sections, they wanted this temple to, this particular land of the mosque to be part of Kashi Vishwanath temple, and they claim that mosque was constructed under the orders of Aurangzeb, who alleged tore down this particular temple in 16th century. Okay, that is one allegation of one particular fraction. Then this case revived because you know why after 1919s, why again in 2019 it came into picture is, you know, in 2019 only Supreme Court has delivered the landmark Ayodhya verdict, okay, which was given in favor of Ayodhya Ram Janmabhoomi only. Okay, so on that lines, okay, so the people are also again they have revived and they have filed fresh petitions, okay, in the Varanasi District Court, so that after this dispute, Supreme Court judgment, they have filed again fresh petitions in the Varanasi District Court asking again the same land should be allocated to the Kashi Vishwanath temple. So then this court, Varanasi District Court, has asked ASI to conduct this scientific survey to find out what is correct. Okay, so then in 2021, if you see, Allahabad High Court has halted the proceedings in the Varanasi court and emphasized the Places of Worship Act. Okay, so what is this Places of Worship Act? The name itself is suggesting an act concerning with places of worship. It can be temples, masjids, church or anything. Okay, so then what happened? So this Places of Worship Act was brought in 1991 when P.V. Narasimha Rao was the Prime Minister of India. Okay, so what is the reason? Then you know in 1991 when this Babri Masjid demolition happened, so there is some communal tensions that has arose. Okay, so then what happened to calm down? Okay, and because you know most of the people, they will claim that this temple was constructed on the on the pretext or on the remains of a mosque, and some people will say on this church was built on the remains of a mosque. Like this, so many contentions will come into the picture. Okay, so if these things are not restricted, then that is why then P.V. Narasimha Rao, who was the Prime Minister of India at that point of time, he brought this Places of Worship Act, okay, giving some restrictions. Okay, that means whichever the places of worship, okay, so are there on the lines, okay, so whichever the places of worship, what is the status that is there on 15th August 1947, what is the status of that particular place will be there, the same thing will be restored. Means if there is a temple in that particular area on this particular date, same thing has to be followed. Okay, so you cannot claim that this is a this is not a temple, this is a masjid or church, like that. Okay, that means same status of or the same status of worship should be maintained. Okay, this is brought mainly to minimize the communal tensions, all these things. Okay, by soon after this Babri Masjid demolition case. So this is what, so the same religious character of a place of worship will be protected. Okay, so there won't be any changes and further claims. Then what is the recent update? As I told you, ASI was tasked to by the District Varanasi Court, okay, in 2023 to conduct a scientific survey of the mosque and also to ascertain if the temple was if the masjid was constructed on pretext structure of a Hindu temple, whether there is a temple or not. All these things have to be found out by this survey. Then this faced a temporary pause from the Supreme Court, and then again, okay, afterwards again Supreme Court has paused and again resumed this particular survey in 2023. So this survey report is now out. So what is the report saying now? So there is a pre-existing structure. Okay, the ASI report clearly said that there is a pre-existing structure which is consisting of some remains of a temple. So even some shivlings, like around 55 to 56 shivlings, are also found, and they did not conclude it in a random way. They said there are some inscriptions which are written in different languages like Telugu, Kannada, and even in Sanskrit and some languages, so that there is some enough remains and there are some enough evidences claiming that this is part of a temple. Okay, so in this way, inscriptions written in Devanagari, Granda, Telugu, Kannada and scripts was also found out as part of this videographic survey conducted by ASI. Then parts of this temple was also mutilated, okay, mutilated for reuse, means they have used again for further construction. Central chamber and main entrance of this temple was also part of this particular structure, and sculptural remains are also saying that there is a large Hindu temple that was pre-existing before this mass construction. So what is the key takeaways? Then, as we are expecting, this is going to take a further turn and it is going to be a complicated legal battle. Okay, so again, two sides are going to argue their points in the Supreme Court, before the Supreme Court. Then Varanasi Court is going to disclose this report, okay, so that to ensure transparency. That is why they also asked for videographic survey. Then we need to know main thing about Places of Worship Act. Okay, what is Places of Worship Act? As I told you, a place of worship and its religious nature must remain the same as it was on 15th August 1947. So what is the status of that particular place of worship on 15th August 1947? Same thing has to be preserved. Means if there is a temple, it should be a temple only. You cannot claim that the temple was constructed on the mosque and all these things. Okay, so it says no person shall convert any place of worship into a different denomination, means into another religious worship place. It declares that all litigation, appeals and other proceedings ongoing before the court will be involving the converting the status will have no more legals. Okay, it will cease. Means if you even further file any legal petitions also, they won't have any effect. Okay, so the same legal status have to be maintained. What is the status on 15th August 1947? Same thing has to be preserved. Then what are the exemptions? This is very important. Okay, so if at all they want to ask any question also, see in the nature of mains, so they can ask you with respect to society, because communalism and is also one part of the syllabus in your society GS1. Then in case if some questions they want to ask from in this context, okay, because recently Ayodhya temple was also inaugurated, right? So if they don't want to go into disputes, they can ask related to 25 to 28. Okay, so what are the articles and what are the exemptions given? So what is the definition of a religious denomination? So what type of benefits they enjoy? What are the essential characteristics of a religious denomination? So such questions can be asked. So fundamental rights, you know, article 25 to 28. So these type of questions can be asked in prelims in this context of, okay. And now here you can see what are exemptions. Means certain places are not certain places have no application of this Places of Worship Act. What are those places? Means ancient and historical monuments which are identified by Archaeological Survey of India. So whichever the historical monuments are there, those things, okay, so that cannot be applied with this Places of Worship Act. And also it does not apply to Ram Janmabhoomi Masjid in Ayodhya. What is the reason is because at that point of time when this Places of Worship Act was brought in 1991, already this dispute is in the court. Okay, so prejudiced we call, sub judice. So when this issue is already in the courts, it is not fair to apply this also under the under this act. So these main places you can see ancient historical monuments and archaeological sites which are listed as part of this 1958 Archaeological Sites Act, and also Ram Janmabhoomi Masjid. Okay, so these issues, okay, these particular areas and monuments are not applied with this Places of Worship Act 1991. Then what are the challenges to this Worship Act? Okay, constraints on judicial remedy. It constrains judicial remedy because you are barring. So in case if there is validity also, you cannot go for judicial remedy or judicial review in these aspects because there is no legal action that can be allowed. And contention on the cutoff date. How you can choose this 15th August 1947? Okay, so although this is an Independence Day, but still, okay, so what is the reason what is the reason of taking this date only? That is one contention. And issue of exemption, why you are giving exemptions to Ram Janmabhoomi or some archaeological sites or monuments. So then restriction on fundamental right to practice a religion. Okay, so in case if some people want to claim also this fundamental right to freedom of religion, which is guaranteed from 25 to 28, is getting curtailed. This is also one challenge, and it is not in spirit of secularism. Okay, so this is not in actual spirit of secularism. So you know, secularism is one of the basic structure of Indian Constitution. It is also mentioned in the preamble. Okay, secular was a word added by 42nd Amendment in 1976. Okay, so do remember these main things. So these are important for mains perspective. Then it is time for practice question for prelims. Under 26, Article 26, freedom to manage religious affairs for every religious denomination has been provided. As per the Supreme Court, there are three factors for identification of religious denomination. Which of the following is not the factor of religious denomination? It should believe in a one deity, collection of individuals who have system of beliefs that they regard as conducive to their spiritual well-being, should have one common organization, should have a distinctive name. So which is the answer? Answer in the comment section. Then time for mains question. Discuss the significance of freedom of religion under the Indian Constitution. So a straightforward question. You have to write how the freedom of religion is guaranteed under Indian Constitution. So here, as we have come to the end of the video, what we have discussed in this video, we have seen what is the Gyanvapi dispute all about. Okay, so what is the timeline, why the dispute has arisen, and also we have seen what are the places of Worship Act, what are the exemptions allowed to this act, and what is the recent ASI report regarding this Gyanvapi saying. Okay, what is the main highlights of this report? All these are the things which we have discussed as part of this video. I hope you found this video useful as part of your preparation. Thank you.